Hello everybody, good afternoon. Hope you're having a great week. How are you getting on with your goals that you set yourself at the beginning of the week? I know a few of you posted in here. I'll be checking in with you later on this afternoon to find out how you're getting on. Hope you've been having a really good week and a good day today. We are working our way through the real model. Last week we did resilience, which is if you think about it as the heart of your business. We also the week before did accountability, and I like to think of that as the skeleton, the structure of the business. Today we are going to talk about energy, which is its lifeblood, and next week we'll be looking at leadership, which if you like is the driving force. So we've kind of been scratching the surface of these different elements of the real model, and today it's all about energy, which is really one of my favourites. It's about building a team, it's about finding the right people around you, it's about really understanding how you add value, and it's about connecting with and finding your ideal customers. So why is energy so important? When we start out in business, each of us is really good at whatever we do. So maybe we're an engineer, or we're a designer, or we're really good at organising things, or we're really good at market research, whatever our specialty might be. And we start off in business and suddenly we have to be a generalist. Suddenly we start doing all these things that we've never had to do before. So we have to deal with the accountant, with the finances, we have to deal with the legal, we're crawling underneath the desk trying to figure out how the IT systems work, we're trying to figure out how our CRM functions, and we quickly find ourselves outside of our comfort zone. I speak to a lot of people who feel completely overwhelmed, and I myself have moments where I feel completely overwhelmed. You feel that feeling of being stretched too thin when you're completely outside your comfort zone and trying to juggle so many different things that you're not very good at, that you don't understand, and actually are taking you away from the core reason why you started your business, your core specialism, the thing that you are really good at. I was interviewed this morning for the Happiness at Work Summit, and we were talking about what makes people happy at work, but also what makes people fall out of love with their business. I will post all the details in the group a little bit later on when I get sent them. And in my experience, it's typically when people are spending a lot of their time out of their flow, away from doing the things that they are good at, where they add the most value. And that makes people feel unhappy, whether they are a business owner or working for somebody else. It's all about the things that we enjoy, the things that we're good at. So it's also about what drains your energy. So if you are ending each day feeling tired, then it's likely that you're spending quite a lot of your time outside of your flow, outside of your comfort zone. In my experience, when you get clear about where you get your energy from, then you can start figuring out how you are wired, what makes you tick. You can then start structuring your day and even your business around the things that give you energy, the things that put you in your flow, where you are adding the most value. And you can also then do that for the people around you, the people that work with you and for you. Your job as a leader is to put them in flow as much as possible, to remove the blocks from them. So it is all about this concept of energy, and each of us is obviously wired in a different way. So what gives me energy will be different than what gives you energy, and also what makes me tired will be different from what makes you tired. So it's all about understanding how that works and how you in particular are wired, and we have a tool to help you do that. Talking about happiness and loving what you're doing and value and all that, it might sound quite fluffy, but actually if you think about it, there is a bottom line benefit to your business. So a lot of business owners that we work with are very good at selling their product and service. They're very good at connecting with clients. They're very good at managing investors. They're often very good at coming up with ideas for new products and services and solving their customers' problems. What they're not necessarily so good at is some of the internal workings of their business, some of the management aspects, the admin that a lot of people call it, maybe the finances, the legal, some of those things that I spoke about. And the problem is that if you as a business owner are spending a lot of your time away from the things that really make you good at what you do, your business will be suffering. And a lot of people, it's a question that I ask a lot of people: how much of your time do you spend doing the things that you love, the things that you're good at, where you add the most value to your business? And typically it can be as low as sort of 20 or 30%. Now you imagine if you were able to put that up to 60, 70% of your time, imagine how much better your business would be. Imagine how much more customers you could connect with. Imagine how many more relationships you could make and form and develop. Imagine how many more products and services you could be offering your clients if you were spending more time in your natural flow. And so there is a bottom line benefit in terms of putting yourself and other people in flow. If you are surrounding yourself by people that are working on the things where they add the most value, where they are in their comfort zone and doing what they enjoy, it will be better for your business, and it will be better ultimately for the bottom line. Your business will grow, and I've seen that many times where businesses grow and develop when the owner gets themselves in flow and then gets their people focusing on the right things for them. This is why energy is so important and why I'm so passionate about it. I meet many people who are on the road to falling out of love with their business, on the road to burning themselves out, on the road to just being completely overwhelmed. And I always start with, how are you wired? What makes you tick? And then let's look at the people around you, and how that's how you build a team and you build a business that really works for you. And that is also how you connect through with your perfect and ideal customer. And I'll come on to that in a second. That's a little bit of an overview then in terms of energy. So now I want to come on to the questions and the comments that you have posted in the group. Hi Bradley, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. So Pete commented, and he said, I think most people would benefit from avoiding getting the wrong people around them, and maybe also talk about cheap freelancers not always being a great fit. I think this is a really important point. The wrong hire or the wrong person can have a huge impact on you, particularly when you're small. And when you have a small team, or if it's just you, that first person or that next person in a small team can have a huge impact. It's really important to get it right. I often work with my clients on energy charts. So you've probably heard of organization charts, but imagine if you could have an energy chart looking at what you're bringing to the business, what other people in your team are bringing, and then looking at what does your business need. So if your business needs more sales, what kind of energy, what kind of person do you need to focus more on sales? If your business needs more structure and organization and systems, that's a different kind of energy that you need to bring into your team. Often we instinctively are drawn to the people who are like us, the people who are wired like us. It's easy to recognize that kind of person, feel comfortable with that kind of person. And I find a lot of business owners who have hired lots of people like them. Now that's great because you're on the same wavelength and you understand each other and you're kind of in tune. But it's not so great because all those people that are like you will also struggle with the things that you struggle with. They won't want to do those things and they won't enjoy those things, and those things will drain their energy. So the key to building a really great team is to hire people that are different than you. You want to have a good values fit, and we'll talk about that in more detail next week when we talk about leadership. But it's important that you're getting a blend of energies around you. Now, the second point that Pete made is around this concept of freelancers who are often seen as cheap alternatives. And he wanted me to speak a little bit about that. So let me give you my views on that. So some people don't want to employ people, and that's totally fine. Some people see that as a hassle, and if you speak to any business owners, and you'll know yourself that managing people and dealing with people is one of the trickiest parts of being a business owner, but I have to say also one of the most enjoyable. So if you don't want to employ people, that's fine. And freelancers are often a very good alternative. They're much more flexible. They can be cheaper, although not always. the thing that I would say is that they don't work for you, they work for themselves. They run their own business, even if they're just a freelancer and they don't think of themselves as a business owner. They're not working for you. When they wake up in the morning, they're thinking about themselves and their clients and how they can serve their clients and how they can get more clients. They don't wake up in the morning and say, I work for Pete's company or I work for Bradley's company. And in my experience and in my opinion, you want a blend of both. Freelancers you also still have to manage, so just because they're freelancers doesn't mean that they don't take up your time to manage them. So in my experience and my advice is that you probably want a blend. You want a core of people that wake up in the morning and go, my mission, I work for Pete, I work for Bradley, this is what I do, this is my identity, this is how I see myself, this is my job. But you also probably want, in terms of flexibility and also potentially in terms of cost, having some freelancers, contractors also in your team can be a really great blend to make sure that you can scale yourself but also be flexible in terms of responding to your customers. Freelancers aren't easier than permanent staff. That's, I think, the point that Pete was making. So just because they're cheaper, sometimes they're cheaper, but you have to spend more time managing them. So it's a question of weighing that up. As I say, I would have a core of employees and then potentially have some freelancers around you for flexibility so that you can flex. Tracy's comment, she said, we are working on connecting with our ideal customers at the moment, so it would be good to get your perspective on this. So figuring out who your ideal customer is can take a while, but it is really worth taking some time to really think through it. A lot of people are like, oh, it's that avatar thing, it's that niche thing, and people often shy away from really thinking about who is my core customer, who is my really ideal customer. It is worth thinking about that, and just because you get really clear about who your key customer is doesn't mean that you can't serve other people. It doesn't mean that you can't have other people that will be attracted to you and your products and services, but it's really about being very clear about who are you talking to, like who is your message really going for. So some of the questions that I would ask yourself is, what kind of customer really sees the unique value of what you and your team offer? Who are they? Where do they live? Maybe how old are they? What's important to them? Where do they get their information from? What do they care about? And why do they buy from you? That's really important. And then how did they find you, or how did you find them? Like, how did you connect with them? And once you're really clear about who is that person you really want to serve, then the question is, how do I communicate with them and how do I find more of them? And as I say, that doesn't mean that other people won't find you and that you can't serve other people, but being really clear in your communication about who am I actually talking to. Last week when Joni and I were on retreat, we actually mapped out who our ideal customer is, and we actually even gave her a name and talked about what size team she has, what her problems are, what she wants, how she's feeling about her business. And that doesn't mean that we don't, just because we've chosen to call our avatar Fiona, doesn't mean that we can't serve men, and we have lots of lovely male customers. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that you get really clear about what is my messaging and who am I really talking to. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. And we do have a couple of templates and tools that we're very happy to share with you if that would be useful. I can see that Bradley has actually made a comment on my previous point. All of our best freelancers became permanent staff. Yes, I mean, I actually, one of the ladies that I interviewed for my book, she said that exactly. She said they always try before they buy, was the way that she put it. So they always start people off as contractors, and then if they work out and they fit into the team and the energies are right and the values fit is there, then they convert them to permanent. That's a really good point and a really good way of doing it, especially if you're nervous about taking on permanent staff from the beginning. Take on someone as a freelancer and then convert them over to permanent. So thank you, Bradley, for making that point. So they were the couple of questions and comments that I received about energy. And so my top tips then for energy: think about what puts you in flow. What do you spend your time doing, and how much of that is when you are just in the zone, when time is kind of standing still, or maybe it's racing ahead, you're just in the zone, you're in the groove, you're loving what you're doing, it doesn't even feel like work, maybe it even feels like fun. How much of your day-to-day life do you spend feeling like that? Because it is about how you feel about your business. When I spoke earlier on about people falling out of love with their business, that is what happens when we burn ourselves out, when we are draining, when we're doing too much of what drains our energy. Where that goes is falling out of love with your business. And that's not a great place to be. So it is about saying, what puts me in flow? How am I wired? What do I want to be spending my time doing versus what am I spending my time doing? Once you get clear about that, then it is much easier to think about who you need around you and how do you put them in flow. How do you make sure that all of your people are spending the maximum time doing what they're really good at? Because if you are surrounded by people that are doing what they are good at, your business will thrive. If you are spending your time doing what comes most naturally to you and where you add the most value, your business will thrive. That's my number one tip. Number two tip is look at the blocks that are getting in the way of your people. That is your number one role as a manager, as a leader, is how can I unblock my people? Often people think about leadership as managing. People think about managing as telling people. I think I mentioned this in the accountability call. It's not about telling, it's actually more about asking. What is getting in the way of you doing a great job? What is getting in the way of you being in flow? And how can I help you remove that block? That's my number two tip. And number three tip is get yourself profiled. If you haven't already got yourself profiled, we use Talent Dynamics. I love it. It talks about energies, which has been the theme of today's live. It's all about where you get your energy from and what drains you. It's available on our website for £97, but we are doing a special offer for everybody in this community. If you haven't already got your profile, we're offering it to you for £47. We'll post the link later on so that you can get that profile. That also includes a call with me where I'll explain exactly what your profile means and crucially therefore what strategies are going to work for you in your business as you try to grow your business and you try to build a team around you to make you more successful. It starts with you and your energy. So get yourself profiled. That is definitely a top tip. That's it for energy for today, unless anybody else has got any more questions. Thank you so much for watching and for contributing. I hope that you found it valuable. I hope it's given you some things to think about. Do post your comments below in the comment section. Also, continue to post your goals in the community so that we can hold you accountable. I'll be following up with those of you that did a little bit later on today. So on Monday, post your goals in the community. Next week, my live is going to be on leadership, which is all around how to know what you want and how to inspire others to join you. We're going to go live at 8 o'clock next Friday morning. We're going to try out some different time slots to find out what works for all of you. Hope you have enjoyed today. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have a great rest of the day and enjoy your weekend and take good care of yourself. Bye for now.